Welcome to the WP Builds podcast, bringing you the latest news from the WordPress community. Now, welcome your hosts, David Wormsley and Nathan Wrigley.
Hello there and welcome to the WP Builds podcast. This is episode number 144, entitled Get Paid with Likes, the Likecoin with Kinco. It was published on Thursday, the 5th of August 2019. My name's Nathan Wrigley from pictureandword.co.uk, a small web development agency based in the north of England. And there's no David Wormsley this week because it's not a discussion, it's an interview. A few things before we begin, the usual stuff, but I'd like to remind you about the stuff that WP Builds are doing to help the WordPress community. If you go over to wpbuilds.com and browse all around, use the links at the top, the first of which is the subscribe link. And if you go there, you can subscribe to all of the different things that we put on. There's newsletters, there's obviously subscribing to the podcast on your favorite podcast player, the Facebook group, and so on and so forth. I would encourage you to do that because this WP Builds Facebook community is something rather special. I'm really always delighted by how warm and friendly it is. The other page to go to would be wpbuilds.com/deals. If you want to get yourself a WordPress deal, head over there. There's a whole bunch of plugins and themes with significant amounts off. So if you're in the marketplace, go and check it out. It's a bit like Black Friday, but every day of the week. Go and check it out if you're thinking of buying a plugin. You never know, you might get lucky. The one that you want might just be there. Please feel free to contact me if you're a plugin owner and you would like to put your plugin on that page. I'll happily do it for you. And the other one is wpbuilds.com/advertise. If you would like to help keep the WP Builds podcast going, and of course, if you'd like to get your product or service in front of a wider audience, go and fill out that form and I'm sure that we can help you out in some way, like we have done with these two companies. The WP Builds podcast was brought to you today by Cloudways. This episode is sponsored by Cloudways, which is a managed cloud-based hosting platform for WordPress. Unlike others, they let you choose the server from top cloud providers like Google Cloud, Amazon, and DigitalOcean. And there are no restrictions on the number of websites per server. Try Cloudways using promo code WPBuilds, all in capitals, and get $20 free hosting credit. And the Page Builder Framework. Do you use a page builder to create your websites? The Page Builder Framework is a mobile, responsive and lightning-fast WordPress theme that works with Beaver Builder, Elementor, Breezy and other page builders. With its endless customization options in the WordPress customizer, it's the perfect fit for you or your agency. Go to wp-pagebuilderframework.com today. And we sincerely, truly, really sincerely thank our sponsors for keeping the WP Builds podcast going. Okay, let's get on to the podcast. Today's episode is all about something called Likecoin. Now, this is such a sublimely amazing idea. I really hope that you get behind this. It's just so different to anything we've covered before. It's a blockchain technology, and the idea is that it will enable people who create content, a bit like me, to get paid for their endeavors. Since the internet came about, most things kind of have the feeling that they should be completely free. Free news, free magazines, and so on and so forth. And authors of content have tried various ways to help you pay them for their efforts. So we've had paywalls, and we've had subscriptions, and we've had donations, and of course adverts. But in the end, some of those models are difficult to monetize. And so Kinco has come up with this idea, a blockchain technology called the Likecoin, whereby you simply click a Likecoin button when you discover a piece of content that you like, and the author gets paid. And it works out how much you're going to spend each month, and it distributes all of your money for that month to any clicks that you perform. So let's say you put $10 into it. It's not dollars, it's Likecoins, but you get the idea. And you click one time, well, that person will get $10. And if you click 3 times, they'll get $3.33 each. And so it goes. It's just so interesting. Have a listen. Leave some feedback, leave some comments in the comments section of the page itself, or if you head over to the Facebook group, wpbuilds.com/Facebook, and join the conversation over there. I really hope you enjoy this episode. Hello there, thank you for joining us on the WP Builds podcast once again. Thanks for getting this far. Today on the line all the way from Hong Kong, we have Kin Ko. Hello, Kin.
Hi, hello everyone.
Hello. Now, Kin Ko is on the line today to speak about something utterly and completely unique. We've never covered this topic at all. In fact, I'd be surprised if you've come across this topic at all. I came across it because of a lightning talk that Kin did at WordCamp in Manchester. It feels like several months ago now, because Kin has launched or is involved with a site which you should probably visit right away to get some idea of it. It is called like.co. So that's like.co. And I'm going to struggle to explain this because it's so amazingly different from what we're used to. So, okay, Kin, I'm going to say, what is Litecoin?
Okay, so in short, Litecoin is a movement to reward creativity, because in the online world, many good contents are not really rewarded. That's what we want to deal with.
So the idea here is it's to do with kind of cryptocurrency, which is going to make a lot of you run to the hills because you've heard about things like, the volatility of things called Bitcoin and how difficult it is to get money in and out of Bitcoin and what have you. But is Litecoin a cryptocurrency? Let's establish that to begin with. Is that what it is?
It is definitely a cryptocurrency, but what we're trying to do is you don't really have to understand much about cryptocurrency in order to use it. Just like you are using smartphone without actually knowing how the smartphone works. At least I don't.
Right. No, I don't. No, I think if somebody took the screen off the smartphone, I wouldn't understand anything that was going on beneath. But just to give it a little bit of history, the things that you've heard of in the cryptocurrency space, no doubt, are things like Bitcoin and Ethereum and possibly things called Ripple and so on and so forth. Now, traditionally, things like Bitcoin have kind of been difficult for people to take in because they don't represent what they're used to with real money, because we're in a phase where Bitcoins can be earned by switching on a computer and doing something called proof of work. And the idea with a Bitcoin is that you ask it to solve a terribly and increasingly almost impossible to solve mathematical problem. And if your computer is lucky enough to solve that problem, you get rewarded with Bitcoins. Rather like, and the real reason it's called Bitcoin mining is it's rather like in the American gold rush, where if you went out with a spade and a bucket and dug the ground up, you might be lucky enough to find a coin, but your chances were very, very small, a bit like mining Bitcoin. So do we mine Litecoin with our computer? Is that what we do?
No, definitely not. So for Litecoin, in total, we have 2 billion Litecoin defined in blockchain, out of which 1 billion, which is 50%, is assigned, budgeted for rewarding creativity. So you just post your content on the web, say, of course, on WordPress, most people do, and then you add a like button made by us to your content. And when people click the like button, it means they are telling us the foundation to reward the content. So that's all the creators have to do. Okay. And you can see that as a form of mining. We call that a proof of creativity.
So instead of using your computer and wasting goodness knows how much of the Earth's resources on generating CPU cycles to try and find a Bitcoin, with this, the idea is different. You will mine coins by putting your content on the internet, attaching a Litecoin button to that content, and if people discover your content and like it, you will in return receive a small, modest amount of Litecoin. Have I got that right?
Yes.
Right. Okay. So that leads me, I suppose, to my next question. Let's say I was out on the internet and I discover a website, a WordPress website with a Litecoin button on it. I'm reading somebody's content, and at the bottom of that content is a Litecoin button. And I think to myself, yes, this article is well done. I've enjoyed reading it. I am going to click on that button and donate some of my Litecoin. I suppose that begs the question, where did my Litecoin come from? How did I fill up my wallet so that I could give it to other people?
I see. So, as I said, we are trying to make a user experience as easy as possible, so people don't have to understand cryptocurrency and don't even have to create a wallet. So what we do, actually, the money comes from two sources. The first source is creators pool reserved by the foundation. As I just mentioned, we reserved 50% of the total Litecoin in the world for rewarding creativity, and they will be minted every day, bit by bit, over the next 10 years. So 1 billion over 10 years. Every day, some Litecoin is minted and be rewarded to the contents being liked on that day. Okay. So that's source one. And then if you as a reader don't feel this is enough, we will have you upgraded to what we call a civic liker, which means you pay $5 per month on your credit card. I mean, you don't have to have crypto wallet or anything, just the typical user experience you have. Use your credit card to pay $5, and then when you like content, you are essentially assigning part of the $5 to the creator. So that's second source of the money.
Okay, so there's two sources. Now, we'll unpick the second one in a moment, but the first one is really interesting to me because it's so radically different from the way that we're used to conducting interactions and commerce, because every single person gets the idea that you did some work at some point in the past and you got paid for it. And because you got paid for it, it sits in your bank account. And whilst it's sitting in your bank account, you can then make decisions upon how you want to spend it. So I could walk up to somebody busking in the street and give them some of the money I'd already earned. Or I could go online and buy something on Amazon with the money I'd already earned. But in your scenario, the money has been generated, 1 billion of these Litecoins have been generated and kept in a reserve, a reservoir, a pool, by the Litecoin Foundation, and it's been determined that 1 billion of them over time will go to people who receive clicks on their website. So you don't have to have money in a Litecoin wallet in order to go around clicking and giving people Litecoins.
Yes.
That's just amazing.
Very precise.
Yeah, it's really an interesting idea because I'm so entrenched in the notion of money is earned, then spent, and then I earn some more, and then I spend it. Whereas the crypto world is totally different. You know, you've got this pool of 2 billion, 1 billion is for creativity, and I can dip into that on somebody else's behalf and donate some of it to somebody, even though I never got my hands on it ever. I just think that's amazing.
Maybe I can try to use a metaphor. So in Hong Kong, we have some funding from government called Create HK, which is used for encourage creativity. So it's a fund by the government.
Yep.
So the government set a budget of let's say 1 billion to reward to encourage creativity. So it's done in the traditional way, meaning, say you're a company, you run WP bills which is very creative, you can write them a proposal of 100 pages telling how this benefits the community, etc., and etc. And maybe they'll assign you 1 million for the project, and it takes 6 months for the application. While for us, we serve the 1 billion Litecoin, which is kind of like the Create HK fund. But in order, rather than having a board to help meeting once every 6 months to check out all the proposals, we have it's like crowd judging, have the people, all the audience tell us what contents are good, what contents worth supporting.
Yeah.
So that we assign the budget to that particular content every day.
So
kind of like a nano funding as well.
yeah, I mean, it's such a different idea. It's breathtakingly different. That's why it's so beguiling and so interesting to me. So okay, so let's say that you've got this billion Litecoins which you invented, and they have $1 value at the moment, which, because the whole project is very small, a little bit like Bitcoin before you ever had heard of it, was worth very, very little. And then over time, people started to use it, and Bitcoin's value went up. And we know it's a roller coaster; it goes up and it goes down. But if you look at the graph over 5 years, it's ended up much more up than it did down. So the idea is that this Litecoin over time will get value, and then you could swap it back into fiat currency, real money, dollars or pounds or what have you. But how do you are you dripping out of that billion a certain number of Litecoins per day, or is it just based upon how many clicks? Like, for example, do you give out 1,000 a day, and that 1,000 will be aggregated over all of the clicks, or is it every click is worth 1 Litecoin, or how does it work?
Is that we have a formula? Let's say x equal function of t.
Okay.
T is the day. So we predefined it. It is the way blockchain works. We've predefined it in the white paper, during which day how many tokens will be generated, regardless of how many contents, how many likes generated that day, over 10 years.
Okay.
So no matter how many contents there are, say, on the 365th day, no matter how many likes there are, there will be a predefined amount of Litecoin generated.
Okay. Does that quantity of Litecoin decrease over time in the same way that Bitcoin did? In other words, at the beginning, it was trivially easy to generate Bitcoin, so there was lots and lots being created, but it was worthless in terms of US dollars, shall we say. And then as it's become more popular, that the tap has dried up, and it's harder to produce those coins. Is that true of you? Or are you linear? Are you the same amount every day? Or is it going to decrease as more people hop on board?
It's kind of like the curve of Little Prince, the picture, the snake eating elephant picture.
Oh yeah.
It goes up and then it goes down.
Okay.
So it's exactly because when I designed it, we take reference on Bitcoin. We don't want people in the beginning to get far too much than the followers, so that like the latecomers can never catch up.
Yes.
So we have a slow start until about 3 years in the project. Then it goes about 3 or 4 years. It goes to the peak, and then it gradually goes down. Okay.
So, I'm just trying to imagine a scenario where this is a ridiculous scenario I'm about to explain, but I'm going to say it anyway. If I was lucky enough to be the only person on the planet on a given day, and I know this is ridiculous, but if I was lucky enough to be the only person on the planet on a given day to get a click on a Litecoin button, I would get all of that day's Litecoin.
Yes. Technically, yes.
Yeah. I mean, ridiculous,
yeah.
but okay. And if I was one of 1 million people who received a click, I would get 1 millionth of the amount produced on that day. What if somebody stands over the computer and clicks their own link?
They can do that. They can do that. I mean, it's like Facebook. You can like yourself.
Yep.
By design, we do allow people to do that, but just a reasonable amount. So I think your question is how to prevent like spam.
Yes.
Is it?
Yeah, essentially.
There are a few ways to prevent that. So the very basic is with capture. So if it looks abnormal, we would ask the person or the bot to prove he or she is not a bot. That's the basic. And before clicking the like button, one needs to register an account, which is of course normal because I have to know it's an individual. And when you register an account, you have the options to bind several social media accounts. Say if you register an account and then you're buying Facebook, you're buying Twitter, you're buying, for example, a LinkedIn, we would increase the confidence level of this particular account. Confidence level meaning I'm pretty sure this is a real person.
Yeah.
And that affects the weight of your like.
Okay, so just to be clear on this, you can't go around the internet without a Litecoin account clicking on things and it does anything. If you don't have a logged in account, in like Facebook, you can't interact with Facebook if you're not logged in. It's the same. You need a Litecoin account. You need to be logged in the browser. There's a cookie or something like that, and it knows who you are. Yeah, and if you're logged in, it knows a bit about you. You've linked up Facebook. You've got a real profile, and obviously that's going to be a battle you're going to have to face at some point as people figure out interesting ways to massage the system in their own favor. But at least you've got something on that. So I need to be logged in. Right. Yeah, that's the main thing, I suppose.
Just one more thing, and of course, there is a reasonable limitation on the amount of contents you can like per day.
Right.
I mean, you can still like it, but say for example the number is 100. We assume a person can reasonably read 100 articles and like them. So the effect will go down after 100 or gradually goes down.
Okay. And this is a daily number which is reset. Yes. Okay. All right. So that was the first model where there's 1 billion coins, of which a certain amount are produced on a daily basis, and that will fluctuate over time. But the second method that you mentioned was that if it's not working for you as a content creator, you can pay in a modest amount. I think you said $5 in order to. So tell us about that. What's the difference between having no money in a Litecoin account and $5 real US dollars in an account per month? What does that get you?
Okay, so the first type we call that Liker, Liker, Liker. So it's essentially a free to use user. While the second type, we call that a civic liker.
Okay.
A civic liker is generally people who pay $5 per month to support creativity. And a civic liker gets everything general liker has, plus a budget of $5 to assign to contents he or she likes.
Okay, right. So this for me,
plus some other like benefits.
Yes, maybe we'll come on to those benefits in a minute. But I think this for me is where it starts to become really interesting, and this is where the blockchain allows a real shift, because I produce content every week. And the traditional ways of making money from that are, number one, you don't care about making money, you just do it. That's fine. There's the ad model where you put adverts on and somebody pays for those ads. So in effect, that's like sponsorship. The other method might be affiliate links. So it's another slightly more disguised way of earning money. But this model that you're now talking about is you put $5, 5 real American dollars into the account, and those dollars get shared out wherever I click by your system.
Yes.
That fascinating. Right. So how does that $5 get distributed? So let me guess how it's going to work, and you can say no, that's absolute rubbish at the end. I'm going to guess that in a given month, you take that $5 and you work out where I've clicked and you split it. I've clicked here twice, here once, here once, here once. That's 5 clicks in total. Those 3 were clicked once, so they get $1 each. But that one was clicked twice, so he gets $2.
Almost. It's really close.
Good.
There's some details I haven't shared. One is we would, by we, I mean the foundation. Once the foundation receives $5 from you, say, for example, you're a Civic liker, we would use that $5 to buy $5 of Litecoin from the exchange at the market price. So say $5 is converted into 1,000 Litecoins. And then we will use that to distribute, because if you use fiat currency, that would be too small. Per transaction is too small, and then the transaction fee would be too high to send to people.
Yes, of course. Yes, I missed that utterly crucial step.
And that's another detailed design, which is a little bit different from your expectation, is we do that daily instead of monthly.
Right.
Monthly is easier to calculate, but I feel like daily is, happier. It makes people happy.
Right. Okay, I get it. So in effect,
every day I get some passive income.
Yeah. So in effect, the system works that you're logged in, you're browsing the internet. You hopefully over time will see more and more of these Litecoin buttons attached to content, and so you are therefore rewarding content creators for their efforts by clicking the button. And if you really like this bit of content, if that really set you on fire, you're going to click it a few times. The Litecoin system keeps track of what I've done. I don't need to interact in any other way. It's just clicking buttons. And then at the end of the month, the person behind that content gets what they're owed in Litecoins, and they can keep it as Litecoins.
At the end of the day.
At the end of the of course. At the end of the day, you receive it in Litecoins, and then you can do with it as you wish. You can keep it as Litecoins, which I suppose brings me on to the next question. Yes. How do we get fiat currency, real money, if you like, in inverted commas, how do we get that back out of the Litecoins that we've got? Let's say that I'm lucky enough, I've received 1,000 Litecoins. They're in my Litecoin wallet system, whatever you call it, and I want to buy some things from Amazon. How do I get the money back out?
You just do that on exchange. Say the primary exchange we're using is liquid.com, which is a registered Japanese exchange, crypto exchange. Mm-hmm. By registered, I mean it has a license issued by the government and regulated by the government. You just sell or buy Litecoin from there.
Okay, so it's a trading platform, perhaps akin to something like...
It's one of the many. It's one of the many exchanges.
Yes,
but that's the one we recommend because it's not the biggest, but it's the most regulated. Because people may worry about whether the exchange is backed by the government or organization.
I've had interactions with things like Coinbase before, and Bitstamp and Kraken and all of these kind of similar setups, which are they're you sign up, you get an account, you deposit your money, and then you transfer it into real currency. And because it's a market, people buy them, and it's all fairly straightforward, if a little bit strange to begin with. This is utterly fascinating. I'm just loving.
To be very honest, it's not super good user experience right now. It's not difficult, just a little bit clumsy.
Yeah.
But I would believe it would improve over time. And it's not just me. I mean, it's not that we as a foundation can change all these issues, because there are many parties involved, government and everything. I can only believe as time goes by, it would become easier and easier.
Yeah. They're not difficult. They remind me, I mean, not that I've ever done really stock market trading or anything like that, but the platforms that I've used, Bitstamp and Coinbase, you see a graph, and it tells you how much a Bitcoin is worth at this moment, and you deposit your Bitcoin in, and it tells you how much you're going to get if they sell, and you put in a price, and hopefully somebody buys it at that price, and then it's it's not like going to the bank. It's not as straightforward.
Or you
as that.
you can also sell. You can always sell at market price.
Yes, just sell right now at this exact moment, and it'll just sell at the market price. You don't have to hold out for a particular price. Okay, so this is fascinating. So we've got ourselves a system of a new cryptocurrency, 2 billion to be created. They're being created slowly over time, and 1 billion of them are going to be given out for creative content on the internet. You put buttons on your content in the hopes that people find it and like it. If you're really into this system, you can deposit your own money and share that out, and it will automatically happen every day. So as a person creating content like me, this has real interest, because suddenly moving. Well, let's put it this way. It's hard to generate revenue from your content. It's really difficult. And removing the friction of having to do much, basically just installing a button on the website, makes it so much easier for me, and hopefully easier for the end user. How do I get the button on the website then?
Well, if you're a WordPress website owner, it's easiest, because you just have to install a WordPress plugin. While if you are running your website on some other systems, you may have to use some API, which is not hard, but a little bit harder than using WordPress plugin.
And what does that WordPress plugin actually do? Does it simply put a button on the end of... does it provide me with a shortcode, or does it just automatically do things? How is it at the moment, and do you have any plans to make it in any way configurable?
Yeah, right now it's a little bit primitive. It has the like button at the end of posts and pages. But then very soon we would improve that. Actually, we've been waiting for Gutenberg, waiting for WordPress 5, which is supposed to be, is it tonight?
Well,
maybe tomorrow?
Yeah, the day we're recording it, it is that day.
So, yes. So you can expect a WordPress, a like button block, where you can add to wherever of your content. You can expect to config where the button goes.
Okay.
One of the options would be a floating button on the left.
Yeah.
Which is kind of similar to Medium, because right now, current design, you have to finish all the, say, if it's an article, you have to finish the whole article before you see the button. But it's probably a better UI to have the button floating on the left, together with some other, like share or bookmark.
Yes,
button.
yes. Yeah, I mean that's quite a common thing you see now, isn't it? You've got the Facebook link and the Twitter link, and they sort of live on the left hand side of the screen, and then on a mobile they float at the bottom and stay there permanently. Yeah, that's a nice idea. Will there be any configurability about the way it looks and the design? You know, like the width and the text which will appear on that button. Can can you put your own stamp on it and perhaps even your own logo or something like that?
Yeah, definitely. So actually, we want to, we in general we want it to be as configurable as possible. Except the small one will look the same.
Okay.
So that people recognize that.
Yeah.
And we've been thinking, but because of the flexibility of Gutenberg, I actually think we will take out the description, because people will have their way to explain to their audience whether they want to encourage them to clap 5 times or what it is. We have a standard. We have a standard copywriting, but creators are free to change that.
Yes,
and of course you have your logo, if you like.
Yeah, I think that's quite that from my perspective would be a good way to go, because I think the things that you see on the internet over and over and over and over again, you become a bit desensitized to them, don't you? In the same way that I can now ignore Google AdWords adverts because I'm just completely used to seeing them and my brain blocks them out. I think if we were to always see the same Litecoin button, we might become desensitized to that. I can also see a future in which, if this takes off, in the same way that right now we have people who, let's say they make a YouTube video, and one of the first things that comes out of their mouth is usually, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, because that's what they're trying to do. I can see the YouTube metaphor being, and don't forget to click the button down below and give me some Litecoins. So, okay, we know that there's a WordPress plugin. You've got plans to make it configurable with Gutenberg. What about if we're not on Medium and we're not on WordPress? Let's say that we've got a YouTube channel. We're making content over there. Can we? Because there's no way to embed things in YouTube, or you can just put stuff on the screen and hope that people take actions with the default YouTube UI. Is there a way of getting a click through an ordinary text link that we might be able to put in the description of a YouTube video, or the description of a Drupal website, or anywhere on the internet, including maybe even in an email?
Yeah, it's definitely doable. I wouldn't say it's the optimal user experience, but it is totally doable. It can even goes all the way to printed media, where you print a QR code, which is essentially the same as the like button, except a like button can be clicked 5 times, while a QR code you can only scan once. But scanning once means you've clicked the first time, and then you will see on your screen a button that clicked once, and you can continue to click for the 2nd to 5th time.
Right.
So essentially, technically, it can be on anything, but the user experience may not be optimal. It can be on a tweet.
Yes.
But it's kind of awkward, but it's doable.
Is there any way of? So let's say, for example, that I'm getting back to the subject you touched on a moment ago, click spam. If I put out a tweet and I am oh goodness me, somebody of incredible importance, I can't think of anybody at the moment, but some social media star, and I put out a tweet which sort of simply says, oh, do me a favor, click this link, and I hide it behind a short link like a bit.ly link or something. Is that good? Will you pick up on that? Oh my goodness me, this link is getting clicked like 1,000 times in the last 10 minutes. There's something peculiar here.
Yeah, I would see it this way. If creators encourage their audience to click, I wouldn't see that as spam. That's one thing.
Interesting.
And as I said, there are various ways to prevent like spam, which I wouldn't be too naive to say we have a perfect solution, because spamming always exists.
Yeah.
But we can only like limit it to a reasonable extent, because if we make it too strict, it would actually affect normal behavior.
Yes. Yes.
So we don't have a perfect solution, but we think it's reasonable. And one more thing I'd like to add is, just now we talk about Leica, general Leica and civic Leica.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I mean, at the end of 10 years, when the creators pool run out, there will only be civic Leica that exist, which from another angle, we are using 10 years to build up the civic Leica behavior. And for civic Leicas, there's no spam, because you are only assigning your own budget.
Yes.
So spamming means nothing.
Okay, I get it. Right. So in this 10-year period where these coins are being minted, either by purchasing them through this being a civic Leica, spending dollars, or they're being minted by clicking on buttons, just the normal Leica, after a period of time, that comes to an end. Everybody can no longer mint new coins, the 2 billion or whatever it was. I think you said 2 billion. Yeah, that's right, 2 billion. The cap has been reached, and from that point on, everybody's just recycling coins to each other. So, you know, you're going to be spending your coins every time you click, so you're less likely to do it. I get it, yeah.
It's meaningless to spam
Yes.
on that, because you're only spending your money.
Yes, I expect the spam will happen in the next 10 years if it's going to happen when there's something to be to be generated.
So to be honest, we do expect some spam, but we have a solution to control it to a reasonable level, I would say.
Yeah. Well, you know, history shows you're not going to get rid of them, so, you know, do what you can and hope for the best, I suppose. So we're a little way into this project. I think we're approaching, is it just over a year you've had this going?
Yes, a little bit over a year.
Okay. How much traction have you had so far? Have you found that there is general acceptance? Are people actually doing this, or is it still just very much oh, please, let's all start doing this? Or do you have people producing Litecoins all over the place right now?
Yeah, as you said, I'm from Hong Kong, and we start our marketing in a Chinese community. So, like you said, I would be pretty surprised that the audience are using it. Although there are some, but not much. So right now we have 300 websites with like button installed. So in the community there are 750 around creators creating contents, and 1,600 likers, general likers, and we'll start the promoting civic liker campaign next month. Okay. So there's no civic liker yet, just now.
Just so it's building up slowly. You're happy with those numbers, but obviously it would be nice if they were to swell, and that's presumably why we're talking today, to get the word out and get people understanding it. I'm also wondering if, you know, older people like me, you know, I'm past the age of 40. I sit with a computer all day. I'm not typical. I mean, a lot of people sit with a computer, but not many of them are actually, you know, building websites and using the internet for anything other than, you know, browsing stuff and interacting with documents and so on. I'm not, so I'm a little bit different. I'm interested in the tech. Have you found that older people are less responsive, less receptive to this, and the younger generation who've been brought up with the phone and talk in the press of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, do they seem to be more able to accept this?
Let me think. The way we promote our project is a little bit different from the typical crypto projects. The typical crypto projects approach to people who are using, approach to the crypto community, while we are more approaching to people or to the creators, to the creative community. So we don't really stress is crypto, is blockchain, is blah blah blah, that kind of stuff. Although it is, but we're trying to encapsulate the thing so that they are using it without noticing it.
Yeah.
So I don't really see the difference that you mentioned.
No. Okay. Well, that's fine. Absolutely fascinating. I'm really, really intrigued by what's going to happen here. As luck would have it, we've got you on what I feel is the very, very beginnings. I know you've been doing this for a year, but in my part of the world, it seems like nobody's talking about this. So I'm very pleased to have you on at the beginning of something. I hope it grows. Thank you for coming on. I'm going to say...
I very much agree with you. Like I said, it's a 10-year movement, and we are on year 0.
Yeah.
2019 would be year 1.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just lovely. I mean, it really speaks to what I'm doing. I'm creating content, and it would be nice to generate some revenue from that content. And this may, in the future, offer a very straightforward, super simple way of doing it. I'm going to say that I've finished with my questions now, but as I always do with the guests, I'm going to say, is there any URL or Twitter handle or anything that you would like to mention before we call it a day?
Yeah, definitely. Actually, you mentioned it already. Maybe I'll repeat it. It's our website is like.co, like.co, and most of the information is there.
Yep.
Yep.
As of right now, because of the marketing efforts being primarily related to the Chinese market, you'll notice if you go there that it is largely Chinese content that's on there. The menu items and the structure and the marketing aspects of it are all in English. But it's just a product of where you've decided to market it. Kin, absolutely fascinating. I'm really, really fascinated by this. I'm going to keep a very close eye on it, and you never know.
Please do install the plugin.
Yeah.
And I'll definitely like your content.
Yeah. Oh, hey, hooray! There you go. That's it. That's all I needed to hear. Right. Thanks so much for coming on the podcast today, Kin. Much appreciated.
Thanks so much. Thank you.
Well, there you go. Not like anything we've covered before. I hope you found that interesting. I mean, whether or not you can actually make use of this, whether or not you see yourself getting into this system or not, it's just a fascinating implementation of an existing technology. The blockchain kind of turned into some donation platform. And the fact that they've got a WordPress plugin is just phenomenal. Obviously shows that they're into the WordPress ecosystem. And obviously a lot of people are creating content on that system. Just wonderful. I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, please go and put some comments in the Facebook group, wpbuilds.com/Facebook. Find the particular thread about this post, or you could just leave some comments at the bottom of the post on the wpbuilds.com website. But I'd be really interested to know what you think about this. The WP Builds podcast was brought to you today by WP and Up. 1 in 4 of us will be directly affected by mental health related illness. WP and Up supports and promotes positive mental health within the WordPress community. This is achieved through mentorship, events, training and counselling. Please help enable WP and Up by visiting wpandup.org/give. Okay, that's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. Come back next week. Next Thursday, we'll have a new podcast episode. And on Monday, we shall have the news that we put out each week, an audio version, very early in the morning UK time. And then come and join us over at wpbuilds.com/live if you'd like to join us for the live, where I'm joined by some WP special guests and we do the news. However you find us, I hope that you've enjoyed it and continue to enjoy it. Please recommend us if you feel that you can. Bye-bye for now.